What's going on, guys? I'm back again with another episode. Really? You know, I was told by somebody that I guess apparently it's illegal to fucking have a GoPro mounted to the fucking camera, my helmet. Apparently it's a hazard. But it's like I've ridden past plenty of cops, like I just did just now, and didn't have any problems. I feel like if anything, it'd probably be more of a better thing, more of like a safety thing. It would probably, I would imagine they'd probably encourage it more to have a GoPro on your helmet. That way, you know, it protects the biker from whatever, you know, any kind of accident they end up being in. So I remember in one of my previous videos I recorded, I never ended up posting it up on YouTube, just because for some reason so there was something wrong with my GoPro at the time, and the footage just sucked. So I just ended up deleting the whole thing. I know, but one thing I did want to talk about though is me being an introvert. You know, and I know there's plenty of people out there who are introverts as well. And you know, some people don't understand quite how introverts work and how they think. I guess technically, you know, because I did take the whole personality test thing, and by that testing, it says that I was pretty much like 50-50, you know, ambivert, or not ambivert, introvert and extrovert, which would mean technically I'm an ambivert, which means you're both. And I don't know, but I kind of figure myself that I actually lean more towards introvert. You know, I'm not really a people person. I mean, I can socialize if I need to. You know, I socialize at work, and you know, having to talk to strangers and shit, I've gotten like way used to it over the years. Like when I was a kid in high school, man, it was even worse though in my middle school years. I was like super shy and quiet, way worse. It wasn't until my junior year in high school is when I started actually coming out of my shell and not being so shy and quiet. Not quite sure what changed, but I ended up breaking out of that shell. And so yeah, I mean, I guess over the years you just kind of gotten more and more comfortable with it. I know some introverts, it's hard for them to break that cycle, you know, of not being all that social. So I mean, I understand what some introverts go through. Ah, fuck, I'll just go straight. And so I know for some people, I know it's hard. You know, at first for me, it was kind of hard just to even socialize with people. I just felt you know, just awkward. Sometimes, I mean, even nowadays, even with some of the people I know I'm friends with, it's hard for me to relate to some of them, obviously, if they're not into the same interests. So even just having just a simple conversation is sometimes isn't always the easiest, because we don't have a whole bunch in common. But I don't know, for me, I mean, I guess every person is different, but for me, I mean, obviously I can only tolerate people so much, and it just, I mean, having to interact with everybody or people just in general, like for a decent amount of time, or hours of the day, it's exhausting. And if you guys don't know some of the qualities of an introvert, I can tell you one of them is that people are exhausting. Like extroverts, people who love to party and hang out in big crowds and socialize a whole bunch, like those extroverts, they feed off of people's energy, and that's what makes them happy. With introverts, it is the opposite, where we have, let's just say like a battery, after so much our battery is drained, and we recharge our battery by pretty much our alone time. And I myself, I've grown to see that it kind of goes both ways for me, where when I was younger, being in high school and shit, being super quiet and shy, that I didn't really want to interact with people, all that much, obviously. But getting older, I've learned to socialize better, but it's also, it's exhausting too. So I mean, when it comes to like people just saying hi to me, generally, I mean, for myself, I like to keep to myself. So like, I'm a pretty independent person, and so I kind of just do things a lot on my own. I enjoy. I've kind of, over the years, I've grown to enjoy my space, and having to deal with relationships and whatnot. When I was younger, when I was starting to date when I was younger, I was always wanting to be with the person all the time. It's a new thing in my life, and I was, especially with a girl, and I was just always wanting to spend time with the person and whatnot. And actually getting older, I realized that I do enjoy my space and my alone time. So it's like kind of it's a good thing. It's a good balance too when it comes to dating. It's like, you don't want to spend too much time, where that way you can't kind of be by yourself and gather your thoughts. One thing I've grown to enjoy though is when I used to hang out with my friends all the time, and I would be there hanging out with them as long as I can, before I had to go home and go to sleep, and have to go to work in the morning. It's like nowadays, I want to be able to just have enough time to come home and relax and kind of just hang out for a little bit before actually having to go to sleep. So having that movie or TV show to watch before I fall asleep, that's become something I really enjoy. I just realized this fucking GTI in front of me is pretty much almost the same color as my bike. Maybe a tad bit darker. I'm trying to think of more qualities too of an introvert, and nothing's coming to my mind. Being independent, needing my space. I don't really initiate talking to other people. At least not first, and let's see, having to recharge my battery. I mean, I'm not really big on social events either, like big social events. I mean, concerts and music, that's different. I do like going to concerts and all that shit. I never really got overwhelmed with big crowds per se, like going to concerts, going to movies. That never really bothered me. I actually really enjoy going to movies, but I don't know. I guess the one thing that really bothers me too is just stupid people. That's kind of the majority of the reason why I just avoid a lot of people too, is just because when they lack common sense, fuck, that just drives me nuts. I swear, It's like the biggest pet peeve too. It's like you can be like fucking book smart and still be a goddamn idiot, and you know, vice versa, where you know, you could be like street smart but are not intelligent at all. As long as you have common sense, then I think you'll be fine, which a lot of people don't have common sense. You know, I try to be, you know, a decently optimistic person. You know, I think logically, and also I like to be, you know, realistic. Sometimes people will confuse realistic with being negative. Well, I mean, I can see that side of it too. It depends on the situation. Where, you know, I could say one thing, oh, yeah, I'm being realistic here, that's probably not going to happen, blah blah blah. And people are like, oh, you're just being a negative person. Or, I mean, I've had people say that I'm just way too negative. I'm just like, no, I'm actually not negative at all. I'm just being realistic. You know, coming to terms with the actual possibility of the outcome. Some people just can't grasp that idea. What is this guy doing? Fucking weird. I think that was kind of weird turn. Well, for the most part, I just like being by myself. That way I don't easily get annoyed with people. Or I like to surround myself with people who don't annoy me, which is kind of hard to find. Most personalities are just annoying as fuck, but I totally had an idea too of, this was not the area that I was going to ride to. You know, where I live, I've kind of ridden the general area that I live, and I was kind of wanting to explore somewhere new, like in my last video when I rode down that one scenic road. That was pretty nice. That was actually a road I've never been down. At least not all the way up to Stanwood. That was a nice road, but I hated too that my GoPro, the angle was just like not the greatest. I didn't even realize that either. Because when I left my house, I thought I had it set up perfectly. So today when I left my house, I had to make sure that my GoPro was actually pointed up enough. Because when it's just the top of the video is just showing pretty much just the road, I don't know, it's kind of a pet peeve of mine. I know there's other, there's a few other YouTubers that I've watched that are actually introverts as well. And, you know, and them, I don't know how their day-to-day life is. And, you know, I know that some of those guys that I don't know if they actually do YouTube full-time, or if it's like a part-time thing and have a job. But like I said in one of my previous videos, that I would actually like to do this full time. This would actually be, you know, an awesome job. I think. Well, I guess I can't really consider it a job or career, because, you know, but like, I guess you can't really classify it as like a TV show actor or whatnot. I guess you could say it's like a TV show having different episodes. And, you know, over the last like year, I've actually found myself watching more and more YouTube videos. And I have my TV on in the background where, you know, it's not, I just have something on just for background music, you know, background noise. And I watch a lot more YouTube. I find it way more interesting nowadays, and it's like it's hard to find, well, at least for me, I find it's hard to find a good TV show that I like. I would really enjoy, you know, being a YouTuber full time. I feel like that would be an awesome job, I guess you could say. I never really could figure out what I wanted to do for a career. I thought I wanted to be a mechanic and actually work on cars. I mean, I still do enjoy working on cars. You know, and I thought I wanted to do that for a career, but after doing it, working in a dealership for 2 years, I don't know, that whole environment kind of killed it for me, and I don't know, I couldn't do that full time. That would just, I don't know, like I said, it just killed it for me. I always figured though, I think it would just be so much easier if I dated another introvert. That's kind of what I've been looking for majority of the time, to find a woman who's an introvert as well. You know, who is pretty independent. What is this guy doing? You are not fucking... Yeah, stay there, asshole. Another introvert, that way, obviously, who's independent as well, but who doesn't like being around people all the time. I'm not saying I'm antisocial. I just prefer the company of like 1 or 2 people at most. More than that, it just kind of takes a little more out of me. It's a little more exhausting. I prefer like the one-on-one kind of hangout. But anyways, being the way that I am, I've come to really envy people who can easily find like a long-term relationship. I know I'm picky when it comes to dating, and I don't need somebody to be perfect, like, but I pretty much want somebody who has the qualities that I like and the interests that I'm into, that I know that will, what is this guy doing? That mesh well with me and my lifestyle. You know, having similar lifestyles obviously would make it a lot easier. But to find somebody who likes everything that I like, or likes the majority of the things I like, and has the same kind of, I wouldn't say personality, but obviously who's kind of an introvert as well, that is extremely hard to find. That's why I'm glad that I didn't wait any longer and finally got a bike, where now I can actually do these YouTube videos even though barely anybody watches them. But it gives me a chance to expand on my being an entrepreneur. So I mean, I already have, I guess you can say I kind of already have 2 jobs, and hopefully I can start making income off doing YouTube. That would be nice. Better stay there, asshole. Man, riding a bike in fucking the city is sometimes kind of nerve-wracking. It's like, even in my car, I know how stupid people are when it comes to driving. I think I'm already in Bothell. Fuck. No shit there. But being on a bike, man, it's like some people are just fucking horrible drivers, and you just gotta avoid those kind of people. I guess another thing too that I've actually just now came to my mind is when it comes to hanging out with people, like I said, you know, I like to keep to myself for the most part. You know, I've got some friends that tell me, oh hey, you know, just come over, you know, that, you know, I'm always welcome to their house and I can just come over whenever I want, kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, I know I can do that, but with me, I don't know, sometimes I just feel weird about doing that, and I need to be like invited, or it's like I know that I'm welcome there, but being invited makes you feel like you actually want me there, kind of thing. So I got me one of those Bluetooth communicator things for my helmet, because I can actually communicate with other riders. I got one the other day. Actually, I think I've had it for maybe a little less than a week now, and I'd say it's not no like Cena but it's pretty nice. I think I only paid like 130 bucks for it, or 140 bucks, something like that. And so far, I mean, I really like it. I can't even think of what the name of it is now, off the top of my head. But yeah, I really like it. And I was actually thinking about having it on while recording a video and listening to music, but then I was like, oh well, shit, I don't know if the microphone's gonna pick up the music, and I don't want to get copyrighted or whatever, even though that I'm not even making money yet. But stay there. If music wasn't copyrighted off of YouTube, which I think it's kind of stupid that they do that. You know, they have all these little pre-made like audio tracks. There's nothing that suits me that I found yet. I thought of an idea. I mean, it may be kind of stupid, but you know how people, I mean, guys who do obviously the moto vlogging thing, and I was like, oh man, well what if I did like a moto vlogging karaoke kind of thing? It's an idea that came to me, but then I was like, no, that's not gonna work because a lot of music is copyrighted off YouTube, and that's not gonna work. Plus, you know, you guys not really being able to hear the music, or at least the audio or the instrumental part of the music. Yeah, I guess it'd be kind of weird. Like, to be honest, yeah, I know I've ridden. Come on, guy, speed up. Yeah, like I've ridden dirt bikes and shit when I was younger, and I know how to ride one, obviously. But when I first went to go get my bike, I actually wanted to record the video too of me riding it home. And well, I don't know, I just ended up not doing it anyways. But when I went to go get my bike, even though that I've had experience riding motorcycles and whatnot, at least dirt bikes, I was still actually kind of nervous to ride it home because it would be like my first time of actually riding an actual street bike. Man, I used to come down to this area years ago when I was dating a girl. I think she lived down that road. Yep. I used to drive my older car that got like 8 miles to the gallon. It's the other reason why I love this bike too. Pretty much gets like 55 miles a gallon, or even more if I'm just cruising at a decent speed. So I had the weirdest encounter the other day. I had stopped off at a little corner store to get some Red Bull, and I parked my bike kind of close to the door of the little convenience store. And this dude, this other biker guy, but he was riding a Harley, so he had like the whole like leather vest on and having like I wouldn't say a big bushy beard, but he had a beard and all that stuff. And so he comes up to me and was like, what size is that bike? I was like, oh, it's a 700. And obviously it's, you know, it's a 689, but I just said 700. I go, yeah, it's a 700. And he goes to tell me, he goes, yeah, I was looking at getting a crotch rocket. I think he said he used to have one or something. And he says he's got like some kind of, he named off his bike, and I was like, I have no idea what the fuck that is, because I don't. He's like, oh, you know, it's a Harley, blah blah blah. Like I don't really know Harley models. But anyways, he goes, yeah, I think he said he used to ride the crotch rock or something, and he used to do wheelies and stoppies on his bike and whatever. And And he goes, oh, what's the fastest you've got your bike up to? I think he said the fastest he's gone was like 120 or 150 or something. I don't quite remember what he said. But I was like, oh yeah, I think the fastest I've got it up to was like, I think maybe 80. You know, I'm not really going for top speed here, so I don't really care about going super fast like that. But yeah, I think the fastest I got was like 80 whatever. But so that's what I told him, and he's like, oh, he's asking me, you know, where I'm going. He's like, oh, where you riding to, or where you trying to go ride to? And I was like, well, I'm going over to a friend's house right down the road. He goes, oh, where's that at? Which I thought was kind of weird that he was asking where my friend's house was at. I go, it's just right down the road. And he's like, oh, well, you know, is it cool if I ride with you? You know, I'll ride behind you. It's always better riding with people. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, I guess. And, you know, I just have to go in the store real quick. So I go in the store, and as I'm about to walk out, I see him like kind of like parking his Harley like right next to mine and whatnot. I thought it was, and then he obviously, when I was leaving, he was following me, which I still think that was kind of like a weird. It's just so random. There is a nice, like a cool little like vintage movie theater that's like super old school, and it's super like ridiculously cheap too to go. It's not no fancy, super fancy nice theater. Oh, I think it's down this way actually. I think it's down this road. But yeah, so there's this vintage movie theater. I don't know how old it is, but it's got a lot of like the super old school vibe. It's got those like old stadium seats, like if you go to like a baseball stadium, those little like flip down chairs, but they're like the old plastic ones, and I think it's like $4 or $4.50 to go see a movie, which is like super awesome. But the thing is though, like they don't show newer movies at all. Like new movie releases, they don't do that. They pretty much just show older movies that have already been out for quite some time. Is it over here? Is it over here? Yes it is. I think so. But yeah, they show like older movies. They do show like a lot of kid movies too. I think they've only got like 6 or 7 theaters, like room theaters or whatever in the building itself. It's like right here in the corner. It's called The Crest, right there in the corner. The Crest, see, right there. Super old school, so they play movies that have been out for quite some time, and they, you know, do kids movies, and it's super nice to go to. It's just kind of just a good place that I like to go, especially when they have good movies out there. But you guys, if you're in the area, you should definitely check it out. I think I should have brought a jacket. It's funny when, you know, I'm riding my bike around, you know, when I'm in a good mood. There's some days where, you know, I feel like I'm gotten really good at mastering the bike and gotten really comfortable with it. There's other days where I feel like I'm a new guy riding it again and can't fucking ride for shit. But the other day, I was actually in a kind of a pissed off mood, and I was riding my bike home, and fuck, dude, felt like I was riding my bike like a pro. I don't know if it's just instinct. maybe sometimes I just think about when I'm actually out riding like this, that I think about messing up on my bike too much. But when I'm pissed off, I'm thinking about other things. I'm riding my bike like a pro. So I realized in my owner's manual for my bike, I mean, I know that when I left the dealership with the bike, they told me change the oil after 600 miles. You know, part of the whole like braking cycle, do the oil change after 600 miles on a new motor. You know, to get a lot of the metal shavings, you know, out of the oil, whatnot, and out of the motor. So I ended up changing the oil at like 360 miles because obviously I want the motor I want to take care of the motor. So I did it after 360 miles. There's a Facebook page that I follow, or I'm on whatever group for these bikes, and people were saying, oh, you know, change the oil after the first 100 miles and then do it again after 600 miles or at 600 miles or something like that. So what I was going to do was, at the time I'd already been riding it for a decent amount of miles, and so I ended up changing the oil at 360 miles, and then I was going to do it again at 600 miles, but I ended up not doing that and riding it a lot more. Then I ended up like changing it recently at 1,000 miles. I ended up changing it at 1,000 miles, which I did, I think it was yesterday actually. And yeah, had a little bit of metal shavings in there, so at least I know I got the majority of them out. But yeah, no, it says in the owner's manual after 600 miles you do your oil change, but then after that you don't change your oil again for until like 4,000 miles or 6 months, whichever one came first. I think it was. And I was like, I don't know, I think it was yeah, that's what it was, but they wanted you to, Jesus, fuck, I didn't even realize this road was all that bumpy. After changing the oil the first time, you change the filter, but then when you go to okay, turning, no. Once you change the oil in the filter the first time, you change the oil at 4,000 miles, but then you don't change the filter until 8,000. So it's like you change the filter every like 8,000 miles, which I thought was really strange. So I'm still, nope, not stopping. Like I said, I'm still kind of new to bikes, but I was like, changing in your oil filter after 8,000 miles and not doing it every time you do an oil change, I thought it was kind of strange, because I change my oil filter all the time with my car. But yeah, so I thought it was really weird. And then obviously I don't change my spark plugs until fucking like 4,000 miles, I think it is, like that or something. Which, I don't know, just the maintenance on bikes is way different than on a car, which I thought was strange.